You ever notice how betrayal never shows up looking like a villain? No trench coat, no thunderclouds, no mustache to twirl. Nah. It arrives wearing your wife's perfume, humming your wedding song, and smiling like everything's just fine. That's what made it cruel. That's what made it brilliant. Thursday was quiet. Too quiet. My house had that sterile calm you only get in hospital rooms and bad news. I should have known then something was off. I came home early from work. No specific reason, just a gut feeling that the spreadsheet could wait. I pushed the front door open and felt it right away. The absence of chaos. No dishwasher humming. No TV background noise. No scent of her weird vanilla coconut candles. Just air. Stale air. I walked through the house like a man tiptoeing through his own crime scene. Everything was in its place. Two in place. The remote was aligned with the coffee table. Her slippers were neatly paired by the stairs. That's not normal. No one lives that neatly. Claire. I called out. Nothing. I stood there in the hallway a second longer. That's when I heard it. A small thud. Like a window closing upstairs. My heartbeat did that thing where it skips the warm-up and starts sprinting like it heard the starter pistol. I jogged up the stairs 2 at a time and checked our room. Empty. Window cracked open. A breeze lifting the curtains like they were trying to escape too. I wasn't dumb. I'd suspected something for months. But suspicion's like a rock in your shoe. You can ignore it until it starts drawing blood. This was the moment I took the shoe off and saw the gash. Claire came home 2 hours later with grocery bags and a smile so wide it could have won an Oscar. Hey, babe, she chirped like her tongue wasn't dipped in poison. You're home early. Yeah. Figured we could do dinner. She blinked. Just for a second. That half second where the brain scrambles to rewrite the narrative. Then she beamed again. Perfect. I got your favorite. Chicken Alfredo. I smiled back. The kind of smile that lets you lie without using words. Great, I said, knowing damn well we were about to chew on more than chicken. We sat down at the dinner table like we hadn't been living in a slow-motion implosion for the last 6 months. She lit a candle. Real fancy for a Thursday. I cut into the Alfredo like it had personally betrayed me. You seem tense, Claire said, her voice dripping with casual concern. Everything okay at work? I looked up slowly, fork paused midair. Yeah. Slow day, actually. Got done early. Thought I'd surprise you. She nodded. Nice surprise. She was good, I'll give her that. Academy Award worthy. But there was something in the way she pushed her peas around her plate. Something in the way she wouldn't hold eye contact too long. Like her gaze had somewhere guilty to be. So, I said, what did you do today? She blinked. Tiny hesitation. Just errands. Target, gas station, grocery store. Oh. I asked, casually. Which Target? She furrowed her brow like that was the strangest question in the world. The one on 5th. I said, chewing. Weird. Ran into Jen today. She said she saw you at the one across town. That stopped her fork. Mid-scoop. Really? She asked, too bright. Huh. Maybe I did go to the other one. You know how I mix them up. She recovered fast, but not fast enough. I nodded slowly, setting my fork down. Yeah. Must have slipped your mind. Just like closing the window upstairs. That's when it happened. The tiniest twitch in her jaw. Like the mask slipped, just for a millisecond. What do you mean? She asked. I said, folding my napkin with surgical precision. I came home early. Heard something upstairs. Window was open. Her voice dropped. Are you accusing me of something? No, I said calmly. Just noticing details. Like a detective in his own house. She stood up then, too quickly. You know what? I don't need this. She marched toward the sink, muttering something about trust issues. But trust wasn't the issue. It was the math. The timeline. The smell of cologne in our hallway that didn't belong to me. The leftovers of a secret that didn't know how to clean up after itself. She went to bed early that night. Said she had a migraine. Migraine. Classic. I stayed downstairs, lights off, nursing a glass of something stronger than suspicion. My phone sat on the coffee table like a landmine I was afraid to touch. But I did. Of course I did. And just like that, the digital trail began to unravel. First up, our shared location app. She'd turned it off 3 days ago, claiming an update had broken it. Funny how updates only seem to glitch when guilt's in the room. Next stop, her Instagram. A little too curated lately. Every photo a solo shot. Every caption a veiled stab. Sometimes you outgrow the pot you were planted in. Real subtle. But it was the bank account that gave me the first real clue. 2 charges, one for a hotel downtown. The other, flowers. Not from me, I assure you. Now, I'm not Sherlock, but when your wife, who claims she's emotionally drained, is racking up spa-grade linen charges at the Corinthian Grand, it doesn't take a genius to sketch the outline of betrayal. Still, I didn't say anything. Not yet. Why? Because anger is like bourbon. Better served slow. And revenge? Well, revenge needs seasoning. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. She kissed my cheek, packed her gym bag. Spin class, she said. I'll be back by noon. Have a great ride, I said. And just like that, she spun herself out the door, straight into a setup she didn't know I'd started building. The moment Claire's taillights disappeared down the block, I was moving. Now, I'm not the jealous type. Never have been. I've always believed trust is earned, but once it's given, it ought to be honored. And if someone breaks it, well, that's not just a breach, it's a choice. And choices have consequences. I grabbed my coat, my keys, and something else, a sticky note with a phone number scribbled in Sharpie. His name was Ray Mercer. Ray and I weren't exactly friends. We were more mutually beneficial strangers. He used to work with my cousin in a security firm before switching careers and becoming a freelance information consultant, which is a polite way of saying he finds things people want hidden. He owed me one from years ago when I bailed his brother out of a bar fight with a guy twice his size and half his IQ. I hadn't collected until now. I called. 2 rings. Ray here. It's me. Pause. The quiet guy with the nice watch. That's the one. What's up? I need a tail job. Discreet. Domestic. He whistled low. Name. Claire. Another pause. You're Claire. Yep. Damn, brother. You free. He chuckled. For you? Always. Where and when? Follow her from the gym. White SUV. Plate ends in 6-2V. Says she's spinning till noon. She won't be spinning. That's what I figured. Send me a pic to confirm the target. I'll get eyes on her. I hung up, sent the photo, and sat back on the couch, staring at the fireplace. I didn't light it. I wanted the cold. 10 minutes later, Ray texted. Got her. She's not at the gym. She's across town. Corinthian Grand. Again. Well, that hotel was becoming her favorite haunt. I texted back. Let me know when she leaves. Get photos. License plate of who she meets. You know the drill. Ray, already on it. She's meeting a guy. Mid-30s, button-down shirt, drives a gray Civic. You want a photo of the plate or his face? Both. Ray, copy that. Oh, and for what it's worth? She ain't hesitating. Arm around his waist. Smiling like it's prom night. I stared at the message. The letters blurred a little. Not because I was emotional. No, it was the kind of rage that simmers beneath the skin. Cold. Precise. Clean. She didn't hesitate. A decade of marriage, 3 Thanksgivings with my mother, and she didn't hesitate. 20 minutes passed. Then came another update. Ray. They went into a suite. Room 1214. Hotel staff ID'd it. Checked in under the name J. Hartley. No checkout date yet. You want me to wait? No. Get what you can. Then go. I've got what I need. I tossed the phone onto the table like it burned. Because now? Now the gloves were off. She didn't even bother hiding it. Not really. Same hotel. Same car. Same guy. That wasn't a fling. That was a routine. Routine makes people sloppy. And I was counting on that. Claire came home at 12:47 p.m., hair up, cheeks flushed, and reeking of citrus hotel soap. How was class? I asked, flipping through a magazine like I hadn't been mentally sketching crime scenes all morning. Brutal, she said. My thighs are on fire. Good workout, huh? The best, she grinned. You should come sometime. I'll think about it. She leaned over, kissed my forehead. There it was again. That scent. Not the perfume I bought her last Christmas. This one was musky, unisex. A scent that didn't belong in our home, and definitely didn't belong on her. She dropped her gym bag by the door and headed for the shower. I waited until I heard the water running. Then I opened the bag. No gym clothes. Just a change of lingerie, a hotel robe, and a tiny complimentary shampoo bottle from the Corinthian. She wasn't even trying anymore. I zipped the bag closed and walked upstairs. I didn't knock. I just opened the bathroom door and leaned against the frame. She was behind the frosted glass, humming. Hey, I said casually. Yeah. What's Jay? Hartley's favorite shampoo. She froze. I counted the seconds. Excuse me, she called, voice suddenly high. You heard me. More silence. Then the water stopped. She poked her head out. eyes wide. What did you just say? I tossed the tiny shampoo bottle toward the sink. It bounced once and landed near her towel. That was in your gym bag, I said. I grabbed the wrong. Save it. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. You went through my things. I did. You violated my privacy. I nodded slowly. Yep. Right after you violated our marriage. That was the first time she didn't have a comeback. She wrapped herself in a towel and just stared at me, her mouth twitching like it was trying to build a lie big enough to cover what she'd done. But there wasn't one. I walked out of the bathroom, sat back on the couch, and waited. She didn't follow me, which was wise, because I wasn't angry anymore. I was focused, and I just decided it was time to start laying the groundwork. If she thought this was going to end with an apology and a therapist's business card, she hadn't even begun to imagine how wrong she was. Claire didn't speak to me for the rest of that night. No surprise there. The silence was her first language when cornered. When the truth got too tight around her, she'd retreat into herself, cross her arms, and wait for the other person to back down. Problem was, I'd finally stopped backing down. I slept in the guest room. Not because I needed space. I needed peace. The kind you only get when you're not sharing air with a liar. At 2:14 a.m., I woke up, sat upright, and grabbed the yellow notepad from the drawer. That's when I began what I called the plan with no name. Step 1. Document everything. I started with the obvious, race photos. There was Claire, stepping out of the hotel lobby, arm hooked with our mystery Civic driver. I zoomed in. Square jaw, navy blue shirt, slight receding hairline. Normal-looking guy. Too normal. The kind that blends into crowds. The kind that doesn't make waves until he's sleeping with another man's wife. Beneath the photos, Ray had jotted down details. The guy's plate number, timestamps, even the brand of cigarettes he smoked. Precision. That's why I liked Ray. Step 2. Figure out the man. Name, job, income. Was he married? Did he have kids? Something told me yes. Guys like him always do. Men who make habits of sleeping with married women tend to live double lives. If Claire had a routine, odds were he did too. I sent Ray a message. Need full background on Civic guy. Every rock, flip it. He replied 5 minutes later, because apparently insomnia was contagious. Already started. Should have a file in 48 hours. Step 3. Get Claire to think I was still clueless. That meant no more confrontations, no more probing questions, no more references to Jay, Hartley, or complimentary shampoos. From that point forward, I'd play the role she'd written for me, oblivious husband, slowly regaining trust. Except I wouldn't be regaining anything. I'd be buying time. Because step 4, that one was going to take some legwork. The next morning, I made coffee. She came down wearing her usual I didn't cheat outfit, leggings, hoodie, no makeup. The kind she always wore when she wanted to look innocent by default. I poured her a cup. Peace offering, I said, smiling gently. She took it like it might be poisoned. Thanks. I sat across from her at the table and sipped mine. She stared at hers like it held answers. I shouldn't have lied, she mumbled after a moment. I raised an eyebrow, but didn't jump in. Let the silence do the work. It was one mistake, she said, voice trembling just enough to suggest rehearsal. One. She hesitated. Okay, a few. But it didn't mean anything. It was just, I felt lonely. There it was. The excuse menu special. I felt lonely. It's amazing how often that phrase is used to justify betrayal. You could paint it on a billboard and call it a universal slogan. I'm not proud of it, she added. I thought maybe, if I acted out, you'd notice me again. I tilted my head. Notice you? She nodded. You've been distant. Distracted. Always working. I was working, I said, to build something. For us. I know. But I didn't feel it. I leaned back, watching her face. She meant some of it. Maybe even most. But not enough. Not enough to unbreak what she'd broken. Still, I nodded. Let's try to fix it. Her eyes snapped up. You mean that? I smiled, warm and slow. Sure. Everyone deserves one mistake, right? She exhaled, relieved. Like I'd just wiped the slate clean. And just like that, she let her guard down. Over the next week, I kept playing the role. We went on a date night. We watched a movie. She even reached for my hand in the car like we were teenagers again. I kissed her forehead. She smiled. And every time she smiled, I added another tick to the silent scoreboard in my head. Meanwhile, Ray delivered. His file arrived in a brown envelope, tucked inside a bag of bagels he dropped off pretending to be Uber Eats. A paranoid move, sure, but discretion's a cousin of strategy. The man's name? Matthew James Holden, 38. Works in risk management at a corporate insurance firm. Married. 2 kids. Wife's name, Cassandra Holden. Works at a dental office. PDA treasurer. Perfect. A man with something to lose. Which led me to step 5. Give him a choice. But first, I needed something tangible. Something more than photos. So I followed Claire. Once. Just once. It was a Wednesday. She said she was going to yoga. She packed the mat. Wore the pants. Kissed me like a sitcom wife and drove off. I gave her a 10-minute head start, then followed in a borrowed car. She didn't go to yoga. She went to room 1214. I waited outside for 43 minutes. Then I walked into the lobby, straight to the front desk, and asked if I'd left my wallet in the room I checked out of last week. What was the name on the reservation? The clerk asked. Hartley, I said. She typed. Nodded. Yes, there's a note here. You're welcome to go up and check. I thanked her and took the keycard. And that's when I got what I needed. I didn't go inside the room. I waited in the hallway until I heard the door open. Claire stepped out first. Then Matthew. They were laughing. Hair tousled. Clothes wrinkled. He kissed her neck. Then he turned to lock the door, and I stepped out from behind the ice machine. Matthew Holden, I said. He froze. Claire gasped like her soul had exited her body. Tell your wife hello, I added. I've got a nice little package for her. Photos, times, maybe even a surprise or two. Unless. He raised his hands. Wait, please. Unless, I repeated, you and I make a deal. Matthew Holden looked like a man who'd just seen his own obituary. The guy could have been an extra on any given Thursday in an office sitcom, button-down shirt, dad shoes, hair that had fought a good fight and surrendered somewhere around 2019. But at that moment, in the hallway of the Corinthian Grand, he wasn't a mild-mannered insurance man. He was a deer on ice. Claire, to her credit, recovered first. What are you doing here? She hissed, clutching her purse like it could shield her from the reality unraveling around her. I could ask you the same, I said, eyes locked on Matthew. But I already know. Room 1214, huh? Nice view. He tried to speak, failed, then managed a weak. Look, man, let's just talk. Oh, we're going to talk, I said. But not here. Not with her. Claire stepped forward, voice rising. You're not going to threaten him. This isn't. Claire. I cut in, calm as a monk in a storm. Go home. She blinked. Her mouth opened to argue, but something in my tone froze her in place. For once, she read the room. She turned to Matthew, touched his arm gently, then left down the hallway. When the elevator dinged behind her, I turned to him. Let's take a walk. We ended up at a nearby diner. Neutral ground. Public enough that I wouldn't make a scene, private enough to destroy a man's peace of mind. Matthew didn't say much until the waitress left us with coffee and awkward silence. Then he leaned in. Okay, he said. I know what this looks like, and I'm not going to sit here and defend it. Smart start. I didn't know she was married at first. But once I did, I should have ended it. I know that. I own it. I sipped my coffee. Tell me something, Matt. Do your kids know their dad's a cliché? He flinched. No, and I'd like to keep it that way. I smiled, and for the first time, I saw it in his eyes, the fear of the real consequences. The kind that don't show up in hotel hallways. The kind that live in courtrooms and custody battles and broken trust. Here's the situation, I said. I don't care if you love her. I don't care what she promised you or what lies she spun. What I care about is that you've been breaking into my life and treating it like a rental. He nodded slowly, swallowing hard. So I'm going to give you 2 choices, I said, pulling a folded envelope from my jacket. I slid it across the table. Inside this envelope is everything. Photos, timestamps, the room number, the receipts. The whole sordid novella. He stared at it like it might bite him. If I send that to your wife, and believe me, I have her address and a courier who owes me a favor, it's over for you. Messy. Courtroom soap opera messy. His hand trembled. Or, I continued, you agree to a few simple terms. He blinked. Terms. Yep. Term 1. You end it. Today. No texts. No calls. No surprise hotel visits. You vanish. Done, he said immediately. Term 2. You tell Claire you're leaving. Not because you're scared of me, but because she's not worth losing your family for. He hesitated. She's going to hate me. She'll get over it. Or she won't. Not your problem anymore. He nodded. Term 3. If I hear so much as a whisper that you've seen her again, that envelope goes to your wife and your HR department. And trust me, I'll make sure it circulates. He closed his eyes. Okay, deal. I leaned back. Good. Now drink your coffee. You look like you've seen a ghost. He didn't laugh. I didn't expect him to. 2 days later, Claire came home quiet. She didn't slam the door. Didn't toss her keys in the bowl like a declaration of power. She just walked in, dropped her purse, and stood in the hallway like she didn't recognize the house. I was on the couch, reading, of all things, a book she'd given me for my birthday a year ago. It was still in mint condition. He ended it, she said softly. I didn't look up. I know. Her voice cracked. Did you tell him to? Now I looked at her. No, I said. I told him the truth. That you weren't worth the wreckage. She flinched. I loved you, she said. Yeah, I nodded. You probably did, but not enough to stay loyal. Not enough to say no. Silence. She sat down on the opposite end of the couch. Not close. Not touching. Just there. Is this it, then? She asked. I turned the page in my book. No, I said. This is the calm before the storm. She blinked. What does that mean? It means, I said, not bothering to soften it, that I'm not done. Not yet. You made a mess, Claire. And you've got no idea how deep the cleanup's about to go. That night, I opened the folder again. Still intact. Still sharp enough to ruin lives. But I wasn't sending it to his wife yet. No, that was a tool for later. Because if Claire thought she'd seen the worst of it, she was in for a surprise. I was done playing the victim. Now I was playing the long game. And the next move was going to leave a mark. There's a unique kind of silence that settles in after betrayal. It's not the peaceful kind, the kind you get in forest or after a long storm. It's sharp, electric, like a live wire humming behind drywall. That's what my house became, a quiet, well-decorated war zone. Claire tiptoed around me like I was a vase she'd already cracked and was hoping wouldn't shatter just yet. She cooked more, smiled more, even wore her old college hoodie, the one she used to toss on when she wanted me to think we were still us. But the game had changed, and I had all the pieces now. While she played homemaker, I got to work. First, I met with a lawyer. Her name was Dana Ross, and she had a voice like a cold wind and a reputation for winning dirty. You ready for this? She asked, not even offering a seat before sliding a folder across the desk. More than ready, I said. Prenup? She asked. Nope. She smiled like a lion spotting a limping antelope. Then let's talk strategy. I handed her everything, photos, timestamps, receipts, even a written summary of every lie I could prove. She flipped through it all with clinical efficiency. This is gold, she said. Marital misconduct in a no-fault state? It still plays. Especially if the judge is old school. I didn't blink. I want full leverage. The house. The assets. She can keep the memory foam mattress and the blender if she wants, but nothing else. Children. No kids. Good. That simplifies the bloodbath. She pulled out a notepad, started scribbling. We'll start with filing. Serve her at work? No, I said. At home. I want her in sweatpants when it hits. Dana grinned. Savage. I like it. I left her office feeling something I hadn't in weeks: control. The kind that doesn't come from yelling or slamming doors. The kind that builds slowly, like pressure in a pipe. Claire had dropped the match. I was building the explosion. A week passed. Then 2. Claire began to get comfortable again. She talked about vacations, date nights, even asked if I wanted to renew our vows sometime in the spring. I smiled, nodded, played my part. All while Ray kept feeding me intel. Turns out Matthew Holden hadn't just ended things. He ghosted Claire so hard she started leaving fake yoga mats in the car again, hoping I'd ask questions. I didn't. Instead, I planted a seed. One night, while washing dishes, I said, I ran into an old friend today. Cassie Holden. Remember her? Claire stiffened. Just slightly. Oh. Yeah. Vaguely. She said something weird. Asked if we knew a guy named Matthew. Said she'd seen you two talking once. Claire's hand gripped the countertop. Huh, she said. Don't really remember. Must have been nothing, I replied casually. Anyway, she's nice. Invited us to dinner sometime. That night, Claire barely touched her food. And I went to bed smiling. Friday came. I had Dana schedule the papers for delivery at 4:15 p.m. Claire always did laundry at that time. Hair up, earbuds in, folding towels like nothing in the world could hurt her. That was the moment I wanted it to hit. And it did. I sat on the porch, sipping coffee, as the process server walked up the driveway. He handed the envelope over without ceremony. For Mrs. Claire Edwards. She blinked, confused, then tore it open like it was a coupon booklet. She didn't get past the first page. The towels slipped from her hands. She turned to the front door, saw me through the glass. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. I raised my cup. Cheers. She didn't speak to me for 3 days. She cried the first night, loud enough that I could hear it through the walls, but not loud enough that it could be mistaken for an invitation. She cooked, didn't eat. She tried on day 4. You blindsided me, she said. No, I replied. You blindsided yourself. I just turned on the lights. She stared at me, eyes rimmed red. Is this what you really want? No, I said. What I really wanted was a loyal wife. You gave me this instead. Meanwhile, Ray had one last gift. Matthew Holden's wife, Cassandra? She'd filed for separation. Ray had anonymously mailed her the same photos. Word on the street was Matthew was sleeping in his office and eating vending machine dinners. One cheater down. One divorce in progress. I didn't celebrate. I just took note. People think revenge is about rage. They're wrong. It's about patience, discipline, precision, like setting a clock to detonate. And mine was just ticking into the final hours. Because Claire still didn't know everything. She thought this was a bitter divorce. She didn't know I'd already moved every asset we shared into a separate trust under my name, legal, tidy, and thanks to Dana's creativity, airtight. She didn't know I'd filed a restraining order request for psychological abuse, citing gaslighting and emotional manipulation. Not because I wanted to keep her away. Because I wanted it on the record. She didn't know the man she betrayed had been 3 steps ahead for the last month. And she had no idea what was coming next. Court day arrived like a funeral with assigned seating. Claire wore navy blue like she was auditioning for sympathy. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. The kind of outfit you wear when you want to look like a responsible adult whose world is being unfairly shattered. My lawyer, Dana, looked like justice with a caffeine dependency, sharp, precise, and cold. Her suit was charcoal, her binder thicker than Claire's patience. We didn't speak before the hearing. She avoided my eyes, probably hoping if she didn't look directly at me, she wouldn't have to see the man who used to worship the ground she walked on. Or maybe she was just too busy rewriting her own history. The judge, an older man with wire-rimmed glasses and the attention span of a chess grandmaster, read over the petition quietly for a moment. Then he said the words I'd waited for. Mr. Edwards, you are claiming marital misconduct, abandonment, and emotional abuse. You've submitted audio evidence, written transcripts, and photographs. Dana stood. Correct, Your Honor. Claire's attorney, some fresh-faced guy who looked like he still ate Pop-Tarts for breakfast, objected. Your Honor, we contest the validity of those materials and assert that this was a private matter between 2 consenting adults. Dana didn't miss a beat. So we're not denying the affair. Good to know. Claire's head snapped toward her lawyer. The poor kid swallowed and sat down. The judge adjusted his glasses. Do you have a response to your husband's claims, Mrs. Edwards? She stood, wobbled a little. Your Honor, I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But I was under emotional strain. I felt neglected. I didn't feel seen. The judge didn't blink. Neglect is not grounds to nullify a vow of fidelity. That was the moment Claire realized she'd brought a wine cooler to a sword fight. The ruling was simple. I kept the house, the car, the savings account. Claire was allowed her personal belongings and a small transitional stipend. The judge added, let this be a reminder, actions have consequences. She left the courtroom in tears. I didn't follow. I had no interest in watching her fumble through a moment she built for herself. I walked out of that courthouse lighter than I'd felt in years, but not empty. You see, closure isn't some neat little envelope you receive at the end of pain. It's something you build with calloused hands and quiet fury, piece by piece, decision by decision. Ray met me at the curb. It's done. I nodded. She's finished, I said. He handed me one last manila envelope. Thought you'd want this. She reached out to Matthew. Again. 2 days ago. I took the envelope. Didn't even open it. I don't care, I said. She's someone else's liability now. Claire moved out the following week. She left behind a few books, a worn-out yoga mat, and the coffee mug I bought her on our 5th anniversary. To many more mornings together, it said. I didn't throw it away. I left it in the donation box. Let someone else turn it into a lesson. The neighbors gossiped, of course. We thought you two were perfect. once said. I just smiled. That's the thing about perfect, I replied. It's usually a costume. In the weeks that followed, I changed everything. New locks, new paint, new mattress. Burned the old bedsheets in the backyard like it was a ritual. I didn't date, didn't party. I just existed. Grew strong in the quiet. People think revenge is about making someone else suffer. It's not. It's about reclaiming what they tried to steal from you. Your peace, your dignity, your story. And when you take it back, they can't touch you again. 3 months later, I got a letter. Claire's handwriting. Shaky. It read, Aaron, I don't know what I expected. I guess I thought you'd scream, or cry, or beg, but you didn't. You just saw me for what I was. And that hurt more than anything. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking for closure. I just wanted you to know that I think about you every day. I hope you find someone who deserves the man you are. Claire. I read it once. Then again. Then I put it through the shredder. Because sometimes, healing isn't poetic. It's not a moment where violins swell and lessons are learned. Sometimes healing is walking into your kitchen, making a sandwich, and not thinking about her at all. I never saw Claire again. Last I heard, she moved to another state. Changed jobs. Probably changed her story too. Told people I was distant, cold, inattentive. That's fine. Let her have her version. I've got mine. And mine comes with silence. With space. With mornings where I wake up and don't feel like I'm losing a chess game in my own home. You want to know how it ends? It doesn't. Because I don't carry her with me. Not her betrayal. Not her voice. Not her lies. Just peace. And that's the loudest sound of all.